Daf Yomi, Tractate Sanhedrin, page 3b, top of the page, with the words She'eno Mishtalim. Barosh Hu, Tana Nami Chati Nezik, the Mamon, She'eno Mishtalim Barosh Hu, V'adi Chabayim Lemisne, Chati Nezik, Tana Nami Hezik. Since the Tana needed to teach the halacha with regard to cases involving payment of double the principal and payment of 4 or 5 times the principal, which are cases of money, top of 3b now, that is not paid according to its value, meaning that the payment is not equal to the cost of the damage, but is actually more than that amount. He also taught the halakha with regard to payment of half the cost of the damage, which is also money that is not paid according to its value, as he pays less than the full cost of the damage. And since he needs to teach the halakha with regard to payment of half the cost of the damage, he also taught the halakha with regard to payment of the full cost of the damage. Shloi shaminalon Titana Babanan v'nikra v'lebayis ha'elohim. Harei kan echad ad ha'elohim yavo dvar shnehem. Harei kan shnayim asher yashiyun Elohim. Harei kan shlosha divrei Rabbi Yehoshua. The Gemara asks, from where do we derive the fundamental requirement for 3 judges? The Gemara answers, this is, as the sages taught. The verse states, the owner of the house shall come near the court to see whether he has not put his hand upon his neighbor's property. Exodus 22 verse 7. So there is one judge here. The following verse states, the cause of both parties shall come before the court. So there are 2 judges here, and that verse concludes, he whom the court shall condemn shall pay double to his neighbor. So there are 3 judges here, corresponding to the 3 mentions of the term the court. This is the statement of Rabbi Yehoshua. Rabbi Yoinasan Omer Rishon Techila Nemal Ve'ein Dolshin Techilos Ela ad ha'elohim yavo dvar shnehem. Harei kan echad asher yashiyun Elohim. Harei kan shnayim ve'em bet din shakul mosifin lalehem od echad. Harei kan shloisho. Rabbi Yonatan says the first instance of the term the court is stated first as part of the primary text of the passage, and that is necessary for conveying the straightforward meaning of the verse, and one does not derive tallies for halakhic matters by counting the first mention of a term. Rabbi Yonatan holds that when a tally is derived from the number of instances a certain word appears in the Torah, the first instance is not included in the tally, as it is necessary to teach the mitzvah itself. The tally may be counted only from subsequent mentions. Rather, this is how it is derived. The cause of both parties shall come before the court. There is one judge here, and the continuation of the verse, he whom the court shall condemn, teaches that there are 2 judges here. And since a court may not be composed of an even number of judges, they must add an additional one to them. So there are 3 judges here. Nema bedoshin techilos kamifligi. Demar so doshin techilos, demar so en doshin techilos. Lo. The kuli alma en doshin techilos. Amalach Rabbi Yehoshua imkein nemakra v'nikra bal habayis l'shofet. My ha'elohim shmamina levinaya. Let us say that Rabbi Yehoshua and Rabbi Yonatan disagree with regard to whether one derives tallies for halakhic matters from the first mention of a term in the Torah. Oh, that one derives tallies from the first mention of a term in the Torah. And one sage, Rabbi Yonatan, holds that one does not derive tallies from the first mention of the term. The Gemara rejects this suggestion. No, actually, everyone holds that one does not derive tallies from the first mention of the term. But in this case, there is a separate source for the derivation. As Yehoshua could have said to you, if it is true that no halacha is derived from the first mention, let the first say, the owner of the house shall come near to the judge. What then is the significance of the unique expression, the court ha-Elohim, to conclude from it that the term Elohim was chosen to count toward the tally? Rabbi Yonasan lishan da almanaka kedam riyachi man di'is le'dina likrav gabe diana. The Gemara asks, and how would Rabbi Yonatan respond to this analysis? The Gemara answers, he would say that the verse employed in the common language of the world, as people say, one who has a case, a claim against another, should approach the regular judge, the one who generally judges cases and can be referred to by the term Elohim. Consequently, no halacha can be derived from this first usage. Rabbi Yehoshua lesle besdinota. Be'atanya, Rabbi Eliezer shel beno Rabbi Yossi Agli Omer, ma Talmud lomar lintos achrei rabim latos. HaTorah amra aseh lecha betinote. But doesn't Rabbi Yehoshua accept the principle that a court must be composed of an odd number of judges? And isn't it taught in the Braita? Rabbi Eliezer, son of Rabbi Yossi, clearly says, what is the meaning when the verse states to incline after a multitude to prefer justice? Exodus 23 verse 2. The meaning is that the Torah is saying to you, make for yourself a court that is composed of an odd number of judges, so that that will perforce incline in one direction, so that there will always be a majority that can be followed. Okay. How much time do you have left? Well, we have to do two parts in this. Part 1 and part 2. The Gemara answers, Sofer Lakar Yehuda Damar Shivim Nitnan Sanhedrin Gedoyla Hoitat Shivim Echad. Yehuda Omer Shivim. The Gemara answers Rabbi Yehoshua does not accept this halacha, but instead holds in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda, who says a great Sanhedrin is composed of 70 judges. As we learned in the Mishnah, the great Sanhedrin was composed of 71 judges, and Rabbi Yehuda says it is composed of 70 judges. Clearly, Rabbi Yehuda does not accept the principle that a court must be composed of an odd number of judges. Emar deshamet le Rabbi Yehuda beSanhedrin gedoyla tiksiv kroi b'shar bedina mishamas le. The Gemara asks, say that you heard that Rabbi Yochanan says halakha with regard to the great Sanhedrin, about which specific verses are written, and he derives from these verses that the great Sanhedrin must be composed of exactly 70 judges. Have you heard him say with regard to the rest of the courts, whose companion is not explicitly addressed in the Torah, that these courts can also be composed of 11 judges? V'chi temelo shla v'tnan. Smichas again of Rabbi Egel v'shloisha. Rabbi Yehuda Omer b'chamisha. And if you would say would there be no difference? There's no difference. Rabbi Yehuda does not differentiate between the Great Sanhedrin and the lower courts, but he didn't. Didn't we? But didn't we learn in the Mishnah that laying of hands by the sages and the breaking of the heifer's neck are performed in front of a panel of 3 judges? This is the statement of Rabbi Shimon. Rabbi Yehuda says these rituals are performed in front of 5 judges. Okay? I think we're going to stop here for now. Part 1.